Three. Hey everybody, this is Lamar Ellis. Welcome to Drones in Real Estate. This is part of my aerial inspection webinar series. My name's Lamar again, and I'm the president of Drone Education Services. And this is our first time with a live feed. So let's get it started. I am a real estate valuation expert. I've got over 30 years of appraisal experience, and I hold the MAI and SRA designations for real estate appraisal with the Appraisal Institute. That means I'm educated and informed on real estate properties through discovery, analysis, and reporting the results. Back in 2014, I saw a news report that showed that drones were going to change everything. So my day used to consist of going to a property, taking pictures of the front and the rear and the street scenes of the house or building, going inside and doing an interior inspection. Usually consisted of a walkthrough, and I'm just making sure of the quality and condition. But again, back in 2014, I saw a news report on using drones in real estate, and it changed my life. And so I started to write a series of seminars and webinars on drones in real estate. Well, this being kind of the introduction so that we can show you what our webinar series are going to be. This right here is our series 500 Flights and Counting, where I actually had 11 months of taking a house from the time that it was torn down to the construction of a multi-million-dollar piece of property. This was a really exciting thing to be a part of, and it really established my experience. Not only that, but I am a member of AUVSI, which is the Association of Unmanned Vehicle Systems International, and I'm also a member of the FAA's volunteer group as a Drone Pro representative here in the state of Georgia. Well, as you can see, I got a chance to see this house from the beginning, and the construction of it was tremendous. So in the webinar series, we've got a variety of different things that we're going to showcase and show to you. And one of them is our unmanned teaching assistant, Uda. So with that, let me introduce you to Uda. So Uda, you ready?
Yeah, great. Hi, Lamar. How are you today?
Doing well, Uda.
I'm super excited about today. So why don't we just get on into it?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's share with the audience what we've got. So why
Cool.
drones? Well, drones make aerial inspections practical, and photography is the #1 use for drones right now. Real estate happens to be one of the top industries using them. Why? Because they give access to places that most people can't get to. They're easy to use. They allow me to inspect from a different perspective. They give a relatively safe environment to inspect in, and the cost savings of them is tremendous. My drone is charged with electricity. So they give me access to those hard to reach places, and they show me things that I couldn't see before, like that building is curved with the setbacks of the street. I can accent details that I can't accent from ground-based photography. What does that do? That allows me to show more of a property. By being able to soar above, I can soar above my competition and look at the equipment that I need. It's relatively inexpensive to use. And again, it contributes to a safe working environment. No longer will I have to traverse creeks to get to the other side to figure out what's going on there. I can fly over there. So what kind of system do I need? Well, the things that I'm considering, there's 6 items. But at the very bottom, it's data. What am I getting what I want? It's not so much what I want. It's that if I'm hired to do this, am I getting what the client wants? So everything that I do when I try to think about purchasing a drone, I try to find something that's going to get the data first, and then I try to find something that's practical, it's easy to use, it's easy to set up, which means deployable, I can rely on it, it's durable, and I get enough airtime to complete the mission. So for that 11-month project that I worked on for 500 Flights and Counting, I actually used a DJI Mavic Pro, and that was durable, practical, deployable, reliable, airtime, and I got the data I needed. And that's what you need to concentrate on. Can you get the data that you need? So my typical operation, I bring out a toolbox, my drone, an orange vest, cones if I need them. I've got my controller. I've got a display unit on that controller. I've got a landing and takeoff pad. And if I'm at a construction site, well, maybe I'll need a helmet. The first thing I'll do always is put on my orange safety vest. Why? Because an orange safety vest prevents people from coming up to me and asking me questions as to what I'm doing. Now I'm flying on grass, and you can see that that drone does not have a lot of ability to stand off the ground, so I used a landing and takeoff pad, and I removed the equipment, set the controllers up, set it up, calibrate it, and make sure that it's ready to fly. And after I've got it calibrated, take it up and I'm ready for my mission. Hover it a little bit and then I send it off to explore the world. I absolutely love what I do, and I hope I can share my enthusiasm with you today. Uda?
It's polling question time again. What types of properties would you fly for your real estate business? Would it be commercial properties, industrial, residential, or agricultural properties? On this one, select all that would apply.
Now I realize that you're not getting a polling question that you can actually answer, but this is part of the webinar series, the what do you think questions that Uda asked. And what do you think? Do you think that you could use aerial inspections for commercial properties, industrial, residential, agricultural? Well, for me, I can use them for all of it. And let's go through some of these and let me share. Well, there are three types of drones on the market today that are on the commercial side, and the first one being a fixed wing, which looks like an airplane. You can inspect larger area of properties and it can stay in the air longer. So it's perfect for those agricultural properties that you might need to fly. Now, multi-rotor, that's what I have, and I like it because it's easy to fly and it allows me to operate in tighter spaces. Tighter spaces being urban environments. The next drone out there is called the VTOL, which stands for Vertical Takeoff and Landing. Now that's the drone of the future, and that's what you're going to see package deliveries being done with, because they can land and take off in tighter spaces and fly over longer distances. I'm a real estate expert. Real estate has so many opportunities, and they were the early adopters of drone technology. Now I got into it in 2014, and that was really about a year after that the technology kind of came into existence for real estate. The thing that I'm going to share with you now is you need to know your market so that you can provide more. Why? Because you've got access to places that you didn't have before. It's easy to use, so you can inspect more. And it's got that safety and cost that we discussed a little bit earlier.
All right, folks, it's time for another question. What crossover real estate businesses do you think would be able to use drone services? Would it be appraisers, marketing, insurance, architecture, tax assessment, builders and developers, attorneys, or property managers? You can select all that would apply in this one. And let's see what everybody thinks.
That's another great polling question, Uda. And I would like y'all to consider this. Every one of those is a good answer. So thank you, Uda. Let's get started. Let's discuss some of these. I'm an appraiser. First off, I've got 30 years of experience, and so I use drones as another tool for property inspection. It's not used on every property that I deal with, but for some properties, I get those unique views. That aerial access helps me to identify points of interest, and it's real-time data. Now, what do I mean by that? I actually have the data on the date of inspection. So if I'm having to rely on Google or Bing Maps, they could be up to 6 years old. So this gives me data on the date of inspection. It helps me to showcase the features. Does the property conform? Where is it located? Is there any new construction in the area? Where's my shopping, schools, and employment? How do you get to the property? And once you're there, how do you access that property? Can you make a three-dimensional model? Or possibly a two-dimensional orthomosaic? Finally, does that operation require any specialized equipment such as thermal imaging? Well, marketing, agents and brokers were the first to jump in on this. Why? Because they were able to showcase the features of a house. They were able to develop a personal connection so that it could be rebroadcasted in a home or an office. That is a unique marketing content. And what's really great about this is that a person can stay in their office or home and view multiple properties so they don't seem to waste their time when they're out in the field having to have an agent drive them to a property that they wouldn't want to see in the first place. And as a matter of fact, most people go online right off the bat to see what they're looking at, and a aerial photograph or aerial video actually helps develop that personal connection with the property. So here's a mock one that we did with old Susan Rockford. Now, you can brand a property any way you want, but I just threw in a whole bunch of different ways. You can actually showcase the features by putting up a script, writing on it. You can actually put your own type of music to it, put your name, your contact features in the bottom. You can brand it with your own logo at the bottom. Now, you've got to think about the sources that you might be putting this on, because MLS and other services may not allow you to put your identification markers on there, but they will allow you to put the videos in. And imagine this, you're sitting there looking at the video right now, and you've already developed a personal connection with it. Look, it sits on the water. You may not like a house on the water, but this might be the house for you. Or you might need a dock for your brand new boat. Perfect house for you. Can you see already how you can showcase properties and you can brand your results so that you can reach your target audience? What about for insurance? What's protected? Well, drones offer baseline assessments. What do I mean by that? Well, you can identify what the property was on the date of inspection, you proved it exists, and you've got the condition of the property. So what does that help you to do? Well, it helps you to get your coverage identification, and if there's any kind of damage to that property, you've got damage assessments that you can put on it. And what does that do in the long run? It helps to expedite claims. So here we have some damage assessments that are occurring. Now we got the drone up in the sky. It's obviously not raining, because you don't want to take your drone up into the sky when it's raining, but you can see that the creek is beginning to swell. And if you look up in that corner over there, you can start to see that maybe those houses are about to be impacted by flooding, and you've got a real-time assessment of the damage that's occurring. What about fires? Well, what I'm suggesting to you is do not fly when there's any emergency response units in the area, because they'll have to take their emergency response units out of the sky because they don't know what you're doing there. But it gives you assessment damage, such as here's after a tornado hit, and you can see all the damage that's occurred to the rooftops in the area. Now, if you had that baseline assessment that we just talked about in insurance, you can actually expedite those claims really, really quick. So can you see where this can help you? Tax assessment. Tax assessors are already starting to look at using drones. Why? Because they want to identify value. It helps to identify what the improvements have been to the property. It's a little less intrusive than having to walk properties, and with some of the decreased staffing of some of the governmental departments, a drone can actually allow them to view more properties, and they get a more accurate assessment data. What does that eventually do? Well, it helps to reduce the amount of litigation that they might have to go through. Why? Because it's real hard to argue with a drone's photograph of what's existing on the property on the date of the inspection. What about property management? Well, here I've taken a drone and I've set it to the four corners. I actually geo-mapped the four corners of 4 different warehouses, and I sent the drone out on its own mission. And you can see the conditions of the parking lots. You can see the conditions of the roof. You can see if there are any existing easements out there. You can see if there's any encroachments on other properties. You can see if there's any damage that's occurring to some of those roof lines. Like, hey, let's take a look at the way those air conditioning units are being vented off of that one roof. Not very properly, I don't think. You can see that there's possible damage occurring to the roof lines because the water is not being vented off the roof properly. How about architecture? This is my favorite one because we're going to be redesigning buildings, remodeling buildings, and we're going to be rebuilding buildings for the future. Why? Because we're going to have to support that drone technology. And what's really great about drones is that you can develop a more historical data of what existed so that you've got what was that area looking like before you developed it. And finally, for green development, where you're putting your shopping, schools, and retail all in your working environment where everybody can walk to places, it gives tremendous opportunities. So here I am flying in the city of Atlanta for the designs of the future. And are you thinking green? Because I sure am. And look at the architecture that's already starting to be viewed. I'm already looking at magazines that are redesigning buildings. Why? To support antennas, support charging stations, landing pads, takeoffs. You've also got garages that are being redesigned to be more flat instead of elevated with risers. Why? Because those buildings can be repurposed when we go to maybe unmanned automobiles in the future. So what is this going to do? We're going to be redesigning streets, redesigning buildings, redesigning entertainment facilities. There is so much that drone technology is going to influence the future. It is going to be tremendous for everyone. How about owners and investors? Well, have you ever been to a rural property where you've seen the picture of the house being displayed in the living room? How did that happen? Well, somebody with a crop duster or a helicopter that was flying in the area actually took pictures and sold those pictures back to the owners and investors of the property. Why? Because they're proud of their properties. It gives that unique perspective. It also certifies the date. So it showcases the futures and can provide some legal protection. Why? Because you've got a photograph or video on the date of inspection that could help to expedite those claims for insurance. Now, I might be thinking a little bit further ahead in the future, but it is coming, and it's already here being looked at in view today. So, in a property analysis, this might be typical. I'm walking down the driveway and I'm shooting the house with a camera that's stabilized. But here's what a drone can do that I can't do by walking on the ground. I can take off and go up to that roof line and see what the property looks like. I can see the chimney. I can see the weather vane. I can see any outcroppings there. I can see where the trees are. The beauty of this is that I get that different perspective that I can't get from the ground, where I'm actually showcasing the features. And you can see that this property is well designed and has been built and conforms to the area. And the owner actually wanted me to take this one step further and showcase the features of how do you get there and some of the areas that are around it, like Mirror Lake. And here's access to the property from Mirror Lake. This is the town of Highlands, where you can do your shopping. It's got your schools and your employment. And by just taking the drone up and doing a little rotational pan, I can showcase the entire village. And I can actually, if I want to, start to note some of the retailers in the area, the restaurants in the area, maybe the gas stations, the support facilities, so that if you were an agent and marketing the property, you would be able to showcase those features. How about for builders and developers? They're already using this. Why? Because they can look at the property and they can see, are priorities being met? Are problems being identified? That can reduce some of the liabilities and can reduce the completion time because they can predict on it. They can actually follow within the scope of work. So they've got allocation of resources and uses of resources. Isn't it great that you can actually see that things are being done the way they're supposed to be being done? And you can actually reduce your liability because you actually can showcase how the property was being constructed. Now here's the city of Atlanta, my city. And I actually got it up on that 500 flights in county to see if they're actually putting the flashing on the roof properly. So as you can see, with the movement of dirt and the movement of materials, I actually get a really good view of what is occurring in a property. And what does that do? It helps me to showcase maybe where to build and showcase what's going on with the property so that the neighborhood can get a personal feel for what's happening. And as properties are being developed, you actually can be part of it. And that's the Atlanta Braves Stadium as it's under construction. And once that thing was built, it is absolutely a beautiful sight. Finally, we have attorneys. Attorneys can use this for litigation. Now, why? because it helps to create a more thorough report. It develops credibility in the eyes of the judge and jury. We're all so used to seeing videos and photographs from the air these days anyway. So can you imagine? I've got actual real-time data as of the date of inspection. I'm not having to rely on those Google or Bing maps. And I've actually had situations where the Google or Bing will have a street that no longer exists, or a building that no longer is there, or my photographs show damage to a building that didn't exist in those Google or Bing maps. It's real-time data that can show the condition of a property that can be used for litigation at the time that it's being presented. So there's also some additional things like roof inspection. Look at that. Got tree limbs and water on that roof. That was my very first drone. I actually can showcase any kind of damage. I can showcase the skylights on roofs. I can see which roofs have been replaced and which ones haven't. Railroads are using them to show if there's anything that might be obstructing tracks in the future. Then we also have thermal imaging that we can use to showcase heat loss or moisture detection, or actually for search and rescue and safety. And look at this. This is a drone that's being used in some Hollywood and movie television production. I could showcase maybe a roof being built, and are they doing the job the way they're supposed to be doing? The scope of work. Are they tied in? Have they taken all the safety precautions necessary so nobody gets hurt on the job? Drones can also be pre-programmed so that I can have that flight of the drone not go over the expressway. It is amazing some of the things that drones allow us to see that we cannot see from the ground. So I think, Uda, do you have one more question for us?
Okay, here we go. You know what time it is. This question: do you think you'll see drones used for aerial inspections? Yes, no, or maybe?
Yeah, it's a great question. I hope that I've influenced you, because there are so many opportunities out there for drone technology. And all you have to do is open your mind and think outside the box, because drones are here to stay. And if you're ready, we're ready. So we'd like to thank you so very much for Drone Education Services. And all right, if you want to get into it, let's deal with some business development. All right. So in business development, who are your clients and what are your opportunities? Well, one of the biggest mistakes that I have seen in pilots getting into drone technology is that they are limited in their view of what they're looking at. So they only have a singular client. That means they've only identified one opportunity. And I've got to tell you, if you've only identified one opportunity, then your chances of success are not that great in the environment today. There's so many crossover businesses, and you need to get to know the colleagues that are also flying out there also. If you can't develop the clients or the opportunities or see them, you might want to become a pilot for hire and work under somebody that will help you with the training and experience and help you develop the confidence that you need. Once you're ready to get started, you'll need to have a business plan, because your messaging and consistency are essential. So they need to know, who are you? What kind of skills do you have? What training do you have? What experience do you have? What are your goals? That means, what's your mission? What's your mission statement? What is your vision? What is your appeal to the market? So I'm just going to use my company, Drone Education Services. We are opening minds to drone technology. And our vision is to supply the best educational resources available on the market to everyone. And that's our appeal. So as you can see, we tried to incorporate that within our logo, and also with what we state on our logo with our mission statement. If you're going to get in the business, do it right. Be professional. When you receive an assignment, make sure it's something that you can handle. And if it is not a typical type mission, then maybe have those colleagues that you can go out there and talk to and find out how to do those missions the correct way. You're going to have some examples of what your industry specific type work is. So if you've got that, you'll need to showcase that. to your clients. And then you'll also have to have an ability to deliver the data that they're asking you to acquire. So how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to put together a demo reel. And what is a demo reel? It's showtime. It helps us to provide more. We've got to think outside the box. It showcases your skills, your knowledge, your ability, the equipment you have, your data retrieval systems, your production quality, your delivery of the material. Now, production, it's a big thing. That's where your demo reel can showcase you above the competition. Because just don't think that taking a drone up there and shooting a few pictures is actually where it is. You're going to have to take those pictures and post-produce those into something that's viable and usable. So showcase your best work. Because when you're getting started, you're not going to have that much work there. So try flying for your family, your friends, even fly for free. You're going to be putting that demo reel together, so recognize opportunities and be ready. I actually take my drone with me in the car whenever I'm going out, because you never know when you might run into an opportunity out there of something that's unique that you can film and might look good in a demo reel, or might be able to be used as what we call B-reel in the industry for something at a later date. So here I have a demonstration reel that was produced on construction, industrial, commercial, and even utilities by a company called Flyworks. Now I work for Flyworks, and they are one of the #1 drone companies in the United States. Why? Because they have spent the time to do it right. The quality of production that they put together is beyond what you normally see with some of these other companies out on the market. And as you can see, they have flown a variety of properties and put them into a demonstration reel to showcase their abilities to achieve results that are beyond the competition. Not only that, they're able to showcase their abilities to make their clients look good. And what does your client want to pay you for? They want to pay you to make themselves look good or be able to use that data in a viable resource. You can tell it takes a lot of skill. So there's a lot of training, a lot of skill that's required, experience, and that's given the confidence to pull off some shots that cannot normally be placed by just taking a drone out of a box and flying it. So as you can see, Flyworks has done the homework to get to that level of professionalism that is needed in the market. Join an organization, become involved. Now you can see all the organizations that I'm involved with. I'm involved with AUVSI, which is the Association of Unmanned Vehicle Systems International. I'm associated with AMA. I even work with working groups on UAS technologies, but volunteer with the FAA, and by being a member of the Appraisal Institute, I join up with groups all over the nation interested in real estate valuation. As a matter of fact, I've even spoke at the National Association of Realtors for brokers and agents. Join an organization, become involved. That's where your opportunities are going to come from. So, it's more than you think. It's pretty much a proof of concept model. Get ready. There are opportunities out there. And believe it or not, this is the first shot of me in 2014 shooting my buddy Roman Mola with Flyworks, who was sending up a demonstration of his, that was a DJI Phantom 2 at the time. And some of those shots that you saw in his demo reel were done by that drone. So you can see post-production has an amazing ability to show results that are beyond what your competition can have. So, in conclusion, aerial inspections have plenty of opportunities. Gives you the ability to have adventure that you can't get from just your everyday life of just driving around. Now you're in the air. You can showcase things. You can see things from different perspectives. What does that mean? If you're smart, should mean some more money. So I'm going to say goodbye, but I want to also say goodbye to Uda, who I'm so thankful was here with us today. Uda, are you there?
Yeah, thanks, Lamar. What a great presentation.
Thank you, Uda.
I hope everybody learned an awful lot about using drones in the real estate business.
I sure hope they did too. Thank you, Uda. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I certainly hope you enjoyed your day. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Come and visit us at Drone Education Services. Subscribe to us on social media. We've got so many great things that we're offering. We've got webinars that we are showcasing the abilities. Right now, we've got our webinar that is doing on types, uses, and trends for real estate, rules and regulations. And then we've got this case study where I went over the 11-month period to showcase the house being built. And I ran into things such as birds, believe it or not, helicopters in the air, the president coming to visit that I couldn't fly. So there's so much that are involved in aerial inspections that we're willing to share with you, and we want to share with you. Come join us. We've got our adventure is starting. Thank you so very much, everybody. Have a great day.
Great. And as always, fly safe, fly often,
And have
and have fun.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.